Welcome back to the channel. My recent canoe trip on one of the lesser known waterways in New South Wales took us on the Boyd River. Me and two friends, two canoes, all our camping gear, and with zero experience on rapids, we were in for an adventure. Our goal was to try something new, push ourselves to the limit, and just have a lot of fun. If you're into solitude, adventure, and the sound of water running beneath you, then this one's for you. We used Exodus Adventures to hire our canoes, life jackets and helmets. Dingo, the owner, what a name by the way, met us at his property the night before, where we camped and we got up early to start packing for the trip. Once we loaded up all the gear, it was an hour-and-a-half drive to the starting point on the river. The plan, 36 kilometres over 3 days, down the river, back to Buckarumby, the base of Exodus Adventures. After a quick safety briefing and some guidance on how to paddle, we set off, and we were pretty much thrown straight into it. The Boyd snakes through untouched bushlands, no towns, no noise, just birdsong and the occasional splash of cows on the river. The Boyd River is known for having long, continuous rapids, so there was lots of action. Between the rapids, there were short sections of flat water. This made the trip a lot of fun and was also easier on the arms as it's a lot harder to paddle through the flatter sections. There was 3 of us in 2 double canoes. Having 2 in the canoe meant you could go faster and was less work, but it was also much harder to turn in the rapids and there was more chance of falling out. The man on his own worked harder on the flat sections, but was more agile in the rapids, although I still managed to fall out by myself. Most of the rapids were graded 1 and 2, which were pretty easy. We still had to avoid rocks and stay away from the trees, but they were a lot of fun. But there was 3 grade 3s, and these were a bit more hectic. We were supposed to get out and assess the grade 3s and decide on a line before attempting them. But knowing which rapids they were, we didn't have a clue. Dingo pointed them out from the road on the driver, but once we were on the river, we had no idea until it was too late. This bad boy was obviously a grade 3, but we didn't have a chance to pull over as we got too close and then just had to go for it. The 2 other lads fell out and I was pretty close, but it was awesome. After then we decided to be a bit more careful, which was a good job as another of the grade 3s had a little waterfall. Luckily we got out and walked the canoes to a safer line. I can't explain just how much fun I had on the rapids. It was a bit scary at times when you fell out and floated down the river, hitting rocks, and you really had to be careful for the trees. It was dangerous, not all just fun and games. You could get hurt, but that was part of the adrenaline rush. Each day we planned on travelling about 12 kilometres. I used my Garmin, set it to kayak, and it gave us a good distance at how far we travelled. We had a stop for lunch and were paddling on the river between 2.5 hours to 4 hours each day, so not that much really. We aimed to stop an hour and a half before sunset to set up camp. For the camping, you pick a spot on the side of the river that looks good, and that's it. There was lots of green flat patches to choose from all down the river and evidence of other campers having fires, but we were alone both nights, which was just incredible. Felt so wild. First night we managed to set up camp before it started raining, and luckily we brought a tarp with us for a communal dry spot, and we managed to get a fire going, which was quite tricky as most of the firewood around was wet. The second night we pulled up our canoes and raced to set up the tarp before the rain started. Luckily it didn't rain for long and we had a dry night. Nights on the river are something else. There's no hum of cars, no glow of city lights, just stars, a campfire and the sounds of water drifting past. For dinners, we all had an assortment of dehydrated meals and snacks, and it felt so good getting a hot meal inside of you after being wet all day. And we were wet. We found out the canoes a few times the first 2 days, but but also some of the lads' gear got wet too. We were given these big barrels for our stuff, which weren't watertight, so when the barrels fell out of the canoe and floated down the river, stuff got wet. I put all my gear in an Osprey dry bag inside the barrel, so everything I had was dry, but the lads weren't so lucky. We tried to dry out our clothes at night, but with the rain the first night, it was impossible. The sun was glorious the second day, so we dried everything out on our lunch break, but then we fell out of the first rapid after and things got wet again. I would say even if your stuff is kept dry like mine, just be prepared to be wet. We went in April, so it wasn't the warmest either. Not freezing, but not hot enough to dry things quickly. The Boyd River may not be the most famous spot on the map, but it runs into the Nimboidia River, which is actually Australia's longest whitewater rafting river at just under 200 k's. It was such an amazing trip. I had so much fun. I haven't laughed that much in 3 days in a long time. It was just hilarious, falling out of the canoes, going down the rapids. It was a real adventure, and it felt so remote in the wilderness, in national park and state park, and just camping out there, the three of us alone. It was pretty epic. Thanks for watching, and I'm a new channel, so if you could subscribe, that would be great. Until next time.